Let me give you some advice when visiting Colombia. And actually, this advice can apply almost anywhere, so I hope you'll find it useful. One of the things that I like about Colombia is that it's a very polite society. People are not just nice, they're polite. And usually, even when they're not nice, they're still polite. But here's what happens. And it's not super common, but it does happen, especially around tourist trap areas where there are a lot of people who the perpetrators will probably never have to face again. Think about the tourist areas of Cartagena, Zona T in Bogota, Parque Lleras in Medellin, places where there will be a lot of drinking and carousing too. Now, Colombia is pretty advanced when it comes to even small stores and restaurants accepting credit cards and having tap-to-pay enabled readers. But here's what really happens. There are two different scams that can take place, and one is not even the vendor's fault. So one cool thing that is actually pretty secure is that unlike, for example, in the US, where it's common for a server to take your credit card and go run in the back of the restaurant somewhere, in Colombia, they'll always either bring out the credit card reader to your table or have you go up to the counter where they have the machine, like in a more casual or fast food restaurant or really any kind of store. The scam is that they will put in some wrong, crazy amount, not what your actual agreed bill is. The unscrupulous merchant is counting on you not to look at the credit card reader screen when they enter the amount and then just tapping your card without verifying it. A lot of machines in Colombia don't even print out paper vouchers, which really annoys me. The Home Center hardware store chain and the Jumbo grocery store chain, they're both kind of infamous for this, in my opinion. I'm not saying that they do anything fishy. I'm a customer of both of theirs, but I like getting a paper voucher so I can verify everything is correct and as agreed. Now, what happens if they charge you the wrong amount? Then you have to go back and chase after them when you find out, which might be the next day. Maybe like a tourist trap place knows you're an international traveler without your own transportation. And suppose you're at some bar or restaurant, you go back the next morning and the same people aren't even there, or it's still closed from the night before. And this is even more important if you're using a debit card instead of a credit card, because you don't have the same rights and protections, and it can be very hard or impossible to get your money back if you paid with a debit card because that money has already gone out of your account. So how do you prevent this? And like I said, I don't want to be alarmist. This is not common, but it does happen. Not so much at big chain stores like grocery stores or hardware stores too much, but especially at tourist-focused places. Make sure that the amount on the credit card reader is correct before tapping your card. Politely ask to verify the amount. That's all. Just, they might want to take the card out of your hand, but just say, ask them to show you the amount that they've entered on the credit card reader. That's all you have to do. Now, the second thing that happens, and this really pisses me off, the credit card processors and the ATM operators figured out a simple scam, and that is they give you the choice. Oh, they're so kind. They're so benevolent. They give you the choice to pay your check or withdraw money in Colombian pesos or in the currency of your card, like US dollars or euros. But if you select your home currency, then they give you a nasty exchange rate and they charge you a commission. It will say right there on the screen what the exchange rate is and the commission they add, usually about 7%. So you're paying 7% for absolutely nothing. And this makes a big difference. If you take out, let's say 2 million pesos from an ATM right now, that would be about 550 US dollars. They'll charge you up to $60 more just for selecting dollars. So it'll say, would you like us to convert in dollars for you? No, don't do it. You're literally giving them 60 free dollars. This money goes to the banks, not to the people operating the credit card reader. So don't yell at them or the ATM. Well, the ATM, that is the banks, but except, and this is where the cashier or whoever is to blame. And it's not that they're getting a cut of the money or anything like that, but their ignorance is costing you. And that's when they're trying to quickly cycle through the machine, and the credit card reader has to ask you if they have this option. A lot of credit card readers don't have this scam, and they just always charge you pesos. I like it when that happens. Like this gas station I always go to in my neighborhood, it doesn't go dollars or pesos. It's just pesos, and no problem. But always look at your credit card voucher and make sure that the person operating the card reader didn't just cycle through and press dollars or euros or whatever. The credit card reader even has a screen that tells them, hand the machine to the customer. But a lot of them ignore it because they just want to speed up the transaction. They aren't getting a cut of the ripoff, so at the point of sale, it's usually just ignorance. And I can think of at least 3 different times when they tried to charge me dollars. Once I was at Papa John's Pizza. A lot of you, some people, well, most people know, I think, but maybe you don't. There's plenty of Papa John's pizzas in Colombia. There's plenty of Domino's in Colombia. Even Little Caesars is coming to Colombia. They've opened up some locations now. But anyway, I was at Papa John's, like a neighborhood Papa John's. And the cashier was just punching away at the buttons. Cobrame en pesos, I said to him firmly so he would hear, because he looked kind of stupid, and so I wanted to make sure he knew. He ignored me, charged me the higher dollarized rate, and so then I insisted that he reverse the charges. He didn't know how. He didn't have the right authorization, like from the manager, to go and do refunds. I told him I didn't care. I was not going to accept the pizzas if he didn't undo that transaction. And so he had to call his manager, who had to tell him the codes to reverse the charges. It took like 20 minutes. There's a line backing up where people are coming in to get their pizzas because it was like the carry out. And, that was his fault. Okay. So, he finally undid it or whatever. Another time I was at a Carulla in Bogota. Carulla is a nice grocery store chain in Colombia. And this particular one, it was more like a mini Carulla, which was like a convenience store, more than a full grocery store. And they were super busy, and the cashier just punching away, didn't even ask me, and charged me dollars. Same thing. And I don't know, I feel like it's that show called Curb Your Enthusiasm, that guy Larry David, who probably would do something like this. But the difference, I was not nitpicking. I mean, they were overcharging me by selecting dollars. And so that's different. It's not like, oh, my bagel's too hard or too soft or something silly. This is money, okay? And it was his fault. So I'm not going to pay for his mistake or his sloth or ineptitude or lack of training or whatever. I'm not going to be penalized for that. So he had to call his manager, wake her. It was at night, so he had to wake her up. He didn't even have authority or know how to reverse the charge. This time it took like 40 minutes, but I was not going to budge. He tried to tell me to come back the next day. I told him absolutely not. No, it's your problem. You fix it. I'm going to be your problem since you made a problem for me. He insisted that the machine never asked him about pesos or dollars. I know it did, because like the Carullas in my neighborhood, like they have the self-checkout, and so I even know how to use their credit card machines. But anyway, I told him, I said, look, we'll redo the transaction once you void it and walk through it slowly, step by step. And if it does not ask me, then I'll go ahead and accept the dollar charges or whatever the case might be. Of course, we did it. Right there on the screen, it said dollars or pesos. He had just ignored it. So he learned something that day, even though he learned the hard way. Stand up for your rights. What's that old reggae song? Get up, stand up for your rights. And look, if you travel internationally like I do, don't use a sucky credit card that charges you a fee for international transactions. I hate that, and there's no good excuse for it. Bank of America does that with their debit cards, so unless you have like a 6 or 7 figure balance. I don't. So don't use them for international stuff. For debit cards, I recommend the Charles Schwab checking account debit cards, but there are others. Your credit union might give you a good deal if you're in the U.S. Credit unions exist all over the world. They're basically nonprofit banks if you're in a different part of the globe. Even in Colombia, they call them cooperativas. For credit cards, I recommend the JP Morgan Chase Sapphire Reserve card. It has a lot of travel benefits, and very important for me, there's no foreign transaction fee. You can check it out. I'll put a link in the show notes. Even if you don't need the fancy benefits, they have the non-premium. It's still a travel card, the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. I don't get paid by them. They're not sponsors. I don't have any kind of, I haven't talked to them or anything. It's just one of the cards that I use personally. If you use my link that I give you, it might give me some airline miles, like as a thank you bonus or something. But tell me, has anything like this ever happened to you? What's the worst ripoff you've seen while traveling? I wrote an article about this literal tourist trap in Medellin that was actually kidnapping foreign tourists. So what would happen is you would go there to this bar. It was in Parquilleras, and they would charge you some crazy amount, like saying you owed $500 for a few drinks. And when you refused to pay, they took you in the back and they wouldn't let you leave. You can read about it. I'll share the link to that article too. They finally got busted. So tell me about your adventures. Tell me about have you had like any kind of financial chicanery or anything happen when you've been traveling out of your home country, or maybe even within your home country? Let's engage in the comments either on YouTube or our social media channels on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And one last thing. Aside from the usual like and subscribe, which tells the platform you want more of this, I'm asking you not to trust the algorithm. Some ornery politician like Alvaro Uribe or Petro down here in Colombia, Donald J. Trump or Xi Jinping might get pissed off and pull strings to get us deplatformed. You never know. You probably have seen cases like this already where some YouTuber or podcaster just disappears. So aside from asking you to give us a like and subscribe, which does help, subscribe to our newsletter. The link's in the description. I'll never share your email. We've been in business for over a decade, and we never have, and we never will. For Finance Colombia, just go to fcsubscribe.com. That's just the letter F, the letter C, subscribe, altogether.com. I'm Lauren Moss, publisher of Finance Colombia. Thank you, and be kind, be safe, and stay smart.